Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Fast Talkin' Ty Christensen. I'm joined with Jordan Christensen.
I killed him. I'm glad he's dead. Hey, can you pass that ketchup?
We're joined by Grant Nickel.
I'm yeah.
Are you talking about the bloody dollars?
No, it's in the movie
Yeah,
when he goes to the pharmacist and he's like covered in blood and the guy's just like looking at him, he's like, yeah. And then he just leaves.
He's counting the money. He's got the 20s, and he pulls out this one, and it's covered in blood, like, all over it. He's, like, looking at it, and he's just like, and he, like, can't even give him a reason. Oh, my gosh. Cameron Mickle is another guest on this podcast. What's up?
The keys are in the car.
Oh, I love that part. Oh, my gosh.
Well, if you haven't gotten it from these very insightful quotes, we are reviewing a movie called Blue Ruin. This came out in 2013, and it was directed by Jeremy Saulnier. If I'm pronouncing his name right, I'm probably not.
My
Saulnier.
boy.
Yeah, stars Macon Blair.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, he's amazing.
Daiber Orokozo? Wow, I do not know that one. Ronald Sarkos, Danny Santiago, Adrian Santiago, George Fredericks, Elizabeth Fredericks. Like, everyone's family. How about that? This is an indie film for sure.
It has a buzz from
I can't forget
Home
Teddy
Alone,
though.
too.
Kevin Kolak plays Teddy. He's great too. Yes, Buzz from Home Alone. Which character is he again? Where is he? I don't even see his acting name. It's probably one of these. Who is the guy? What's his name? Officer at Ace, pawn shop clerk, supermarket cashier, SUV. Ted? No,
He's the friend. I forgot his name.
I can't even see him. Is he the friend? Yeah, but it doesn't show up
Bill?
here in the credits. I gotta go find him.
Billy?
Bill? Eric? No. Billy? Yeah, he asks Billy or whatever. What is his name? William?
It's okay. We can.
Oh, here he is. Devin Rattray. Or Rattray. Ben Gaffney is his name. The actor,
yeah.
Ben.
Oh, yeah, Ben. That's right.
He's the character, Ben, yeah. Oh, my gosh, he's great. Buzz. Somebody ate all the pizza and they're going to have to fork it all up. Dude, I freaking love Buzz, dude. Okay. It's almost Christmas time, so I'm obviously excited about talking about Home Alone. Okay, let's talk about this movie. What was it like watching this movie for the first time, and what was it like rewatching it for this podcast? I'll start. Jordan told me to watch this movie, although I had it on my radar from a show me, or what was it called? It wasn't Show Me the Meaning. It was Your Movies Suck. He always recommends really good films that he watched, and Blue Ruin was a movie that he liked. And sometimes they're hit and miss for me because they're too artsy, but this one's just straight up. What a great movie.
Revenge.
Crime, drama, thriller. Revenge. It is solid. It's a tight 90 minutes. It's my kind of movie. Indie. Thinks outside the box. It has a compelling story. Great character. Love it. Sometimes less is more. I was surprised at how little dialogue there was in this film, and we'll get into that later. So
what did he say to his sister?
I
don't talk to people.
I don't usually talk this much.
I don't talk to people. I usually don't talk this much. Yeah. I watched this movie. I told myself, okay, I'm going to be responsible. I'm just going to watch the first 30 minutes and I'll watch the other hour some other time so I can get some sleep. Watch the whole movie. And then I started other films by Jeremy Saulnier, and I started watching Green Room the same night, and I was up till like 3 a.m. So, wow.
Oh, geez,
that 90
Ty,
minutes just flies by. This is an amazing film. Blue Ruin is amazing. Jordan, what was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
So first time, iTunes does this thing where they do these dollar movie rentals, and they're usually really good too. Like I saw Amores, I can't even say the word, Amores Perros, and that one's really
Amores
good.
Perros.
And then they had this one, and I rented it for $1, and I watched it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was a really good film. And then it kind of fell off, and I'd forgotten about it. And then later, just I can't remember when or why I recommended it to you, Ty, but I mean because it's amazing. But and then I am just so glad I haven't seen it since then. So this was only the second time, but then I loved it so much last night when I watched it, and I was so pulled in and immersed. I watched it again today because I was trying to remember what had happened. Because literally when I was like, all right, I want to talk about, and I was like, I don't know what to talk about. I couldn't remember anything. This film like pulls you in. This director, man, he pulls you into the characters' lives so well I literally, by the end of the film, for some reason, I can't remember anything that happened because I'm just like in it every step of the way.
Here, and to that defense, real quick, I just want to say that speaks so many volumes, because right now we live in a time where it's like, you're too stupid. We need to give you the character's name. You need to have a headline of a newspaper to understand where we are. It's like, none of that matters. Just get, like, if your character is intriguing, you're going to get sucked into it. You don't even care if you know the guy's name at the end of the movie. Like, I saw the film, and sometimes it hurts to its detriment, but I did learn. I only remembered it because his name is Dwight. So
that's right,
Dwight that's ever existed on screen, dude. Oh my gosh.
Well, and Ty, going off of what you said, I love this director gives you the lay of the land. Like, too many big budgeted movies like Superman, I don't know where anyone is. Yeah, it's
and
like,
they impose the words like, "Hey, we're in Singapore." This one's just like, look, he's at a beach. It could be anywhere. Like, you're like, oh, it's probably California. Like, no, it was actually East Coast, baby. You're wrong. And it's like, well, I'm glad I didn't care, like, that they didn't mention it, because then I would have been like, oh, I know for a fact that he's on the East Coast.
Well, and
like, just watch the movie.
They spend like 30 seconds each time they do that too, or even a minute or 3 minutes, with the whole song. And it's like, boo, like, we don't need to know that. Who cares?
Yeah,
and
just get right into
it.
it.
They get right into it.
Crap.
Every scene.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a 90-minute runtime, and we're on an indie film budget, so we need to get right to it. And do they ever?
Goodness.
Grant, how about you watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Well, so I saw it for the first time today, and...
This was your first time today?
Yes, it was.
Oh, little baby Grant, we're so glad to have you on the podcast.
What
do you think?
What?
What do you think?
I know, I'm thinking. I really enjoyed this movie because of, kind of like Jordan said, it's a lot of show, don't...
You fell asleep, didn't you, Grant?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll get to my good things later. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie because it's really, like, it cuts out, a lot happens for how little time it is. And they just do a really good job of it, that it doesn't feel rushed. But, like, and everything just fits really well. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot.
Grant's like, I used to hate homeless people, but now I really like them. Okay. Cameron Mickle.
If anything, I wouldn't like homeless people. Now I'd fear them even more. Oh,
now I fear them even more.
Oh my gosh.
They could just be hiding in the bathroom to shiv you in the face.
Today I forced Grant to watch it with me. It was also my first time watching it, and I was really happy because I went in. Oh my
gosh!
Shush, child! Holy cow! Let me speak.
I'm so happy.
The podcast is a revolve around you.
I have to keep it moving though, Cameron. This is a mini episode.
Holy fudge. Okay, so
we don't have time, Cameron.
To shiv you in the head, dude. Holy cow. So watching it the first time for the podcast, I was actually really glad that I went in not knowing anything, because Grant, I was telling Grant we have to watch it or whatever, and he's like, fine. And he's like, what's it about? And then I was like, I don't know. And then Harry walked in like 20 minutes in, and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't really know, but I'm like, there's some homeless dude or whatever, and he's like on a revenge tour. It looks like maybe he killed like his wife or something. And the overall experience was it was like very easy to just kind of sit down and just like watch it and view it, which was very satisfying when many shows nowadays are just kind of very basic.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go around and say two of our favorite things from the pod. From the pod. I always say that. Favorite two things from this movie. Let's start with you, Grant.
I love...
He's gonna steal mine. I already know it.
Yeah, I know, probably. I love how much, like I talked about how this is a show, don't tell. Because honestly,
Cameron, this podcast
it does such a good job.
About you.
A really great scene of that is when I think, so he just killed the guy, he drove off with the car, and then so he needs to change his appearance, and so like he looks around, he sees a house with a bunch of newspapers outside, instantly cuts to him inside the house. So that was such a great way of showing like he was looking for a house that like, someone wasn't home. And so having newspapers out in the front, like that means they weren't home to pick them up. So that was a good house to go into. Just like little things like that.
I didn't even catch that. That's
See,
good.
Grant,
Yeah.
if we were watching it with Kevin would be like, it's unrealistic. I'm sure that person would have a security alarm or they'd have locks on their windows. How did he get inside the house? It's like, move the story along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's little things like that, and that kind of turns into
dude in the brain. I'm pretty sure he could get into a house. Holy fudge!
I know, dude. Well,
he'd shiv the window or the front door.
I do not doubt his desire and his abilities to get in a home after just hiding in the bathroom, breathless, and murdering a human being and hijacking a car.
Well, and it even starts out the movie with him inside the house of someone else. You see him like run out. He's like naked. He like steals some clothes. You're like. Yeah,
he's showering in someone's home when they're not there. You remember seeing? Oh, we need to review that movie with Helen Hunt, the frogging one. What was that called, Jordan?
Oh yes, I See You.
Awake, I See You. This was the original frogging movie, dude. He lives in people's homes, and then when they come home, he sneaks out their window, dude. Kicks out their screen too. Dude. Like I can't believe no one saw that.
Yeah,
so crazy.
So that kind of ties into my second part, just like their attention to detail. Like I just love how like. He sets up kind of like Cameron was talking about like it's like kind of like feels like Home Alone. He like kind of setting up these traps or whatever. He doesn't really do that, but like he sets up the distraction of turning on the water upstairs, and then he turns on the light and then goes downstairs. I just love how he comes back to the house like near the end of the movie and turns off the water. Like it's a little attentions to detail like that. It's just I don't know. It's just really good.
Well, it's his sister's house. He doesn't want to run up her water bill or be wasteful.
Exactly.
So he's like, on the run for murder. Okay.
I don't know. It's just funny because then at the end like because he had talked to his sister about how he'd send her a postcard, and then that's how the movie ends. It shows like her getting the postcard in the mail. It's just like little things like that. It's just like attention to detail that I enjoy.
Real quick, I don't think we give a plot recap. I just want to read it real quick. A mysterious outsider's quiet life is turned upside down when he returns to his childhood home to carry out an act of vengeance. Proving himself an amateur assassin, he winds up in a brutal fight to protect his estranged family. Just to put in some context. And it's kind of sad because he's homeless. He's living homeless. And he goes for it. Grant, thanks for sharing your two things. Cameron, how about you?
I mean, Grant kind of already talked about the show don't tell, but like kind of going along with that, but at the same time a different angle of it is I really like the ambiguity of the film because I love how little we do know because I feel like it's kind of the same thing with everyone else in the film except for the protagonist. I feel like everyone else is kind of like, where the F have you been? Who like everyone's so confused until like he has to explain whose son he is for people to be like, oh, holy crap. Like just saying his own name doesn't like bring any memories to people, and they're like, wait, what? And he's like, oh, I'm like Amber's son or whatever, and they're like, oh what? Like, and like you kind of get the sense like afterwards like he must have ran away like maybe since high school, and like he looks like 30 plus, so he's probably been gone for like 10, 15, 20 years just with no like, and he said I had to put out missing signs for you, so he didn't tell anyone. He just vanished from existence and became a homeless hobo on the beaches of the East Coast. So I just love kind of how you're figuring out everything. Just the director treats you as a very intelligent viewer, which very few directors do. Michael Bay. Because I hate being, but me and Jordan talk about this, we hate being force-fed feelings and also like kind of what to like and like knowledge. So I really appreciated that. And then another thing I absolutely love about the film is just like how you guys are kind of talking about how visceral it is and like kind of the experience, but I caught myself 3 times skipping back to be like, wait, like holy fudge, what just happened? Like, 'cause I look away for like half a second, like to glance at the time or whatever, and I miss something like crazy that just happened. I'm like, what the fudge? I can't look away for literally 30 seconds in this film without something crazy happening. So that part keeps you very engaged in the film to where you're like constantly. It's kind of another one of those films where like someone walks in halfway, you can't be like, I can't explain what's happening to you. Like you just gotta like rewatch it.
Just sit down and come along on this ride with me. Love it. Jordan, how about you? 2 of your favorite things?
Yes, exactly. Going off of what you just said, it's a ride. Like I love this from the opening scene where he's in there. He keeps turning off the tub, and you're like, why does he keep doing that? And he's like listening for something, and then you realize he's in somebody else's house, and he's like taking a bath. Like I know we already mentioned this, but from that opening scene, you're like, oh my gosh. And then you find out he's homeless, and then like how he lives. And going off of what Cameron said too, he's been essentially calculating over this course of, I mean, for how long he's been away from home, all these years he's just sat there thinking about, how am I going to take this guy out? How am I going to do it? Like, you know, he's just essentially letting the revenge eat away at him. And he even has a disguise. Like, he's got this really long beard and long hair, so then he can cut his hair and go back to normal after he's done it. But of course, especially with revenge films, everything gets messy and mistakes are made, which I love. Like, this movie reminds me a lot of Good Time, where it's just like one thing after another keeps messing up and getting him into more trouble. And, you know, like, he's like, oh my gosh, I forgot the keys. So he steals the limo. And inside the limo, there's a kid in the back. And it's just like one thing after another.
Which he already popped the tire and sliced open his hand doing it.
Oh,
that freaks me out.
Or how about when he gets shot with the arrow, he cuts open his leg, and then he goes to the hospital. I hurt myself.
He passes out.
Just faints.
Oh my gosh.
It's so crazy. I love
this
it.
movie is a ride.
Yeah, I love it. And do you have a second favorite, Jordan?
And I love movies that it's like one thing after another. It's just like
continuous.
I just love lots of mistakes. I love when things are like never go to according to plan.
I think this movie really benefits. So my two favorite things. One is Devin Rattray's character, Ben Gaffney. I love his character. He's this friend that he goes to years later, and he's got all these guns. He doesn't know anything about guns, and he's just like, how deep are you? You know, what are you looking for? You know? And he's just like, you know. It's so disturbing because, again, our Dwight is like, doesn't know what to tell Ben. Like, he needs to keep it really ambiguous because he literally is housing a guy that's trying to kill him in his trunk. That's where this gets to. There's an unconscious guy in his trunk who has a broken leg, and that is very scary. Like, this whole situation is my favorite thing that I've ever seen. That's when I knew, like, see, indie films, they raise the stakes. You have a guy that's in your trunk, and he wants to kill you. If you let him out, you can't let him go. You can't, what are you supposed to do? And it's the most stressful thing, and he has to go out there.
Threaten him at gunpoint.
So he opens the trunk, and you know, he has a gun trained on him, and that whole scene is my favorite thing. I love the performance done. Yeah, the performance done by what's his name? Kevin Kolak, the actor, plays Teddy. He plays the craziest role where he is this guy in the back of his trunk. He shouldn't be very threatening, and he's got a broken leg, but their whole scene where he's trying to figure out how to get the upper hand. I mean, do not mistake this guy. He's a very cunning person. He's terrifying. So it ends up turning the tables very quickly when literally goes up to pick up the cell phone because he pretended to call his family to call off the family and stop this whole escapade of revenge. And then he ends up bettering Dwight. He ends up taking the gun and training it on him, and he's ready to, they fight and they scuffle, and it's so freaking stressful. But Ben comes to the rescue, and that whole scene is just wins everything. Ben's performance too, or Ben's character, Devin's character, or the actor Devin Rattray, which I haven't seen him in anything since Home Alone. I'm sure he's been in other films, but like it was so funny that
when he got when he sniped that dude, that was insane.
Oh yes, I love that.
Jaw dropping.
The best part is when he misses the first shot because you hear the bullet, then you hear the gun.
The first shot.
Yeah, then you hear the echo, and then you the second shot.
They look around, and then the next one makes steady contact. Again, very real. Like, I mean, again, it's like how hard it would be to hit from such a far distance away, a very moving target, someone's head. It's just, that whole scene is my favorite. It wins. And secondly is just how much you can care about a character with knowing so little about them. That plays to this movie. That's the power of Jeremy Saulnier. I think he's an incredible writer and director. He knows how to grip you and get you interested in someone's life. And even if you're not rooting for Dwight, you're still empathetic to his cause, and you're along for the revenge plight, for better or for worse. So, amazing film. And
can we just address the fact that people came to kill him with a crossbow? Dude, you already know you F with the wrong people. If people are coming after you with a crossbow, that's when I surrender and I'm like, just end my life right now, man.
Or when he like literally grabs a pitchfork from the shed and he's like ready to defend himself. I was just like, oh, this movie is so fetching stressful. Thankfully, he didn't have to use the pitchfork. But again, it's like the idea that he grabbed it. It's like you are grasping at straws, and it is so stressful because it's like it's them or me, and that's literally what the position he was pushed into.
And I think Dwight had kind of two redeeming moments because I was kind of rooting for him, but at the same time I was like, I hope he dies at the end. This dude's like whack, like he doesn't deserve. Like I wasn't rooting for him until kind of he had two redeeming moments. At the end was when he spared who I think is his half brother. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
it is implied that there was a relationship that happens with his father his mother. His father
with her mother.
It's father with
and so it starts this whole family feud. But it's revealed that this character at the end that was trapped in the limousine was actually his half brother, and it was the whole reason that the guy was sent off to kill his parents in the first place, which sent him on this revenge spree because the guy that killed his parents is now out of jail, and that's where all this starts.
So the fact that he spared him kind of showed like a little bit resemblance of humanity. And then also the second part.
Greatest character reveal, by the way, real quick, to relationships since Star Wars. Just saying, like I am your father. Like a great, snap. Like the guy is his relationship to the protagonist actually means something to the plot, and it is a reveal. It's genuinely a reveal.
Yeah.
Just had to interject there.
And then the other thing that I thought was insane was the moment where you see that he was willing to he was gonna just leave without doing anything to them. But because he's like, as long as you leave my wife or my sister alone, and then he's like, that's why we're going to Pittsburgh. And that moment, you see him, he's like, oh heck no. That's when he comes around the corner and just unloads on that dude, and that dude's like on his knees, and just unloads through his neck. I was like, fuck.
That goes into my pet peeves. Those two women there with him were not fazed nor fearful at all. They're just like,
yeah. She was crazy.
Terrifying. They're all like,
die.
They were all like, that's where we're coming for you. Like they were like, what do you want? They were like not scared at all. Like they were being held.
Well, didn't you remind you, Ty, of that evil woman, the heroin dealer from Ozark, that crazy lady? That's what they reminded me of.
Yes. That is so funny that you mentioned that. They do remind me, like these kind of southern creepy back folk people that are like, it's all about our family. And
blood hungry,
kill anyone that gets in the way. Yeah, it's so scary. That's a great. What's their name? The rich family. Yeah, what are their names?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
they're creepy.
Darlene.
Dude, these women were the scariest women. I mean, oh my gosh, I was scared.
Okay, I have one nitpick. The guy that gets out of prison and gets stabbed in the head, and he is justifiably killed because he does not wash his hands after urinating. Because his justification is that he doesn't pee on his hands. Newsflash: you just grabbed your wet. I want you to wash your hands. I don't want you to say, oh, because I didn't urinate on my hands that I don't need to wash them. Disgusting.
Okay.
Please wash your hands.
I had a few kind of...
Did you wash your hands? No, I don't pee on my hands. What does that have to do with anything?
I had a few tiny gripes. One of them was, first off, how the fudge did that cop know that, who he was and where he was stationed in order to get that information to him if his own family didn't even know where he was? So I didn't really understand...
The car was registered to him?
What?
The car was registered under
I'm aware
the
the
house.
car is registered, but they're not going to put an APB and go searching the entire East Coast to find a homeless man in a car, just to let him know, hey, the guy who killed your parents is out.
Well, a lot of cops, especially for cars that are abandoned, they'll actually run the plates. So all they had to do was run the plates.
I guess.
And I'm assuming he stayed there for a long time because he's been there for years. So.
And I think the cop does suggest that they have a relationship. And so again, we don't know what the extent, but remember when she's like, you're not in trouble, and he goes, I can explain. They seem to have a relationship deeper than just, oh, you're the first cop I've ever seen.
And he's probably been arrested before from stealing from houses or people or something, you know?
Yeah.
Possibly.
And again, you're right. It's ambiguous, but you're right. It could be a gripe where it's like, well...
Yeah,
you know,
I thought it was a little too convenient
right.
for the plot, just because I'm like, obviously he has to find out some way or whatever, which I'm fine with. That's
right.
why it was a little bit of a nitpick because I was just like, I feel like he only found out because it was convenient for the plot for him to be like, oh, now I gotta go. And then,
secondly, sister was pretty cool with the fact that his brother just got away with killing someone.
Yeah,
she's like, you did. Like, he's like, I killed him or something like that. She like admits to his sister that he killed the guy, and then he's like, I killed him before coming here.
And that ties into
at first she doesn't even ask how or what happened. She's just like,
Grant,
good. I hope he rots.
Dude, and then she tells him, she's like, I'd forgive you if you were crazy, but you're not. You're weak. It's like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
She was a little too
sister, man.
She was just like kind of unfazed, in like the only moment where she actually was like worried about the situation was the fact that her children are going to be affected. When I was just like,
I will be real, Cameron. I will be
murderer.
real though. She's not unfazed. She's a mother, so it's not really that part of a stretch of imagination. When you're a mother, you've seen it all, dude. You're ready to kill.
You've seen your
Cameron,
brother stab a serial killer in the head.
No, but she didn't see it. She's just been angry at this guy for, her whole life. And so she's I'm sure every day just like, I want him to die. And so when he finally did, it's just like,
I guess. I don't know.
I
I just feel like I don't know, her reaction wasn't like, oh my gosh. She was just like where have you been? She cared more about the fact of where the F he had been than the fact that he just put a knife inside of a human brain. I was like, what on earth?
Well, she didn't ask how she didn't ask how he did it, so she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Could have just run him over on the car. Hey, so real quick,
quotes?
Do you guys have any other nitpicks or anything else?
I didn't think that what's it called? I felt like there should have been a little bit more of the. But I guess because he did end up killing them, because I felt like there should have been more consequences for the sister. But the fact that he kind of did end up killing everybody.
Well, that's why he killed the whole
situation. But I don't know. I just felt like she kind of got out scot-free.
He seemed to murder the most vengeful and vicious members of the family is my guess, because I can't imagine the entire extended family being
that talk about reveals, that realization of why it wasn't on TV. That was really cool, because I was like,
oh,
and
my
then
gosh.
he's like, why is it on TV? And I'm like, oh, they're taking matters in their own hands. I was like, oh, fudge. So that's
and then he goes, we need to get home. Your kids, who's at home? That freaked me out so bad.
And then and you see the freaking nanny outside, and I was like, I thought she was held at gunpoint. She's about to die too. And then she just runs inside, and the kids are fine. And I was like, oh, okay. That was
one of the kids was crying. Bad babysitter. Fire her. Just saying.
Yeah. So that was kind of the one thing.
One thing I loved too was Buzz or Ben, whatever his name was.
Call him Buzz.
Yeah,
Buzz.
whatever.
Just call him Buzz.
I love his quote when he's talking to him, when he's giving him the guns and stuff. He's like, this is personal. That's how you're gonna fail. He's like, no speeches, just aim the gun and shoot.
Yes.
It's so true, dude.
Yeah, Grant asked me to redo the scene, and I was like, I can tell you what the quote was, and he's like,
oh, it's so good because it's so true. Because everyone wants to get their speech in, dig it in.
But then the callback was that he already had
before.
the speech, which is the most genius way to have the speech without them knowing where you're at. Because then he got the final speech in. We're like, I wanted
with the voice messages.
Yeah,
exactly.
I wanted you to know that. And so then when they're like, that's where we're going to Pittsburgh, he's like, okay, that shot through the neck. I was like, oh shoot. That was a gnarly shot. See, I like that because I feel like if you're kind of aiming something like that, especially when we've seen his skills, he's not exactly above average on shooting. So I was glad it wasn't just a perfect headshot or whatever. But the first time he hits him in the knee or the hip, and he falls down. And same with the first time he stabbed the guy. He stabs him the side of the neck, and I was like, oh man, he's screwed. And then just
and then he gets attacked. He freaking starts attacking him.
Yeah.
He cuts him and he's like, oh, it's not over. And then he just starts lunging at him. Oh, that freaks me out.
Yeah. So
there was just two. Oh, sorry. What?
No, I was just going to
say there's two more.
Okay,
go.
Go!
Wait, let me say something.
All right. There's just two more things really quick I want to say. I love when people are talking to somebody that has something on their mind, and all of a sudden it does that ringing noise, and he's tuning them out. He does that twice. And they do that in Breaking Bad also when he's tuning it out, and he's like, you got mustard on your shirt. And he's like, excuse me? And he's telling him he has cancer for the first time. I just love when people tune people out. I just love that. It's a great visual, also, something you could hear. So a great
Jordan's
sound.
I really relate to that. I phase people out all the time.
I wasn't listening to anything you said on this podcast. And then the other
if I
thing.
repeat anything, now we understand why.
And then I know, right? And then the other thing that I know, Ty, every time we say a prayer, I'm like, oh, are we going to say a prayer? I do that a lot.
Someone already offer a blessing on the food? Yes, we literally just got done offering a blessing on the food. You
Yeah,
just
I
said
do.
amen, and the next question that came out of your mouth was, did we already pray?
I don't. Yeah. And then the other thing I absolutely love is this movie lets things play out. Like, there's so many movies they would just not show certain things. They'd show the wrong kind of information, when it's like this movie lets a scene play out where he's just like waiting, and all of a sudden the lights turn on and he's like trying to figure out where that came from, and then finds out it's on a timer. Like, I just love that the film let that scene play out. Like, there's things about this, like when he's drinking a glass of water and you're like, what is it? Oh, he's just really thirsty. You're like, no, he's going to go pee on the grave of the guy that killed his family. Like,
I love that part.
or when he's searching the house and he finds all the guns in different places and hidden, and then later you see the lady kick the couch open and find a machine gun. Like, I love seeing stuff like that. You play it out and you have him searching for those guns.
That was some
like,
Death
Those
Wish
ladies
throwback.
clearly watched Death Wish. I was just about to say that. It's like those ladies clearly watched Death Wish and watched the semi-automatic.
They kick out the AK. Like, what type of college
Nick is
house
investing
this?
in one
What
of
the
those,
fudge?
dude.
Yeah.
Nick is looking to get in one of those for his home.
Dude, so
do,
awesome.
do we have any?
That's
Are we
so
going to quotes now?
Yeah, let's hit up quotes real quick.
The only quote that I was gonna say is the same one that Grant said. That I was just like, oh snap! I was like shook. She's like, I would have felt or forgiven you if you were crazy, but you're not. You're just weak. I was like, dang, that's a very oversimplification of your brother who just murdered the guy who killed your family. Okay.
Yes. See, and so my favorite scene again, Teddy in the trunk of the car. It just goes, that's how this works. Man, the one with the gun gets to tell the truth. Is my favorite
I love that
line
quote
of this movie, and
I wrote that down. Dang it!
I
That
was
was my
so great.
favorite.
And another great scene. It's a moment of humor and levity to this whole stressful situation. That's my favorite scene, the scene with Teddy in the trunk. After Dwight's in shock, he literally just watched Teddy's head get blown off, and he's just like, his head. He's in shock, and he just goes, Ben, Buzz from Home Alone comes up, he goes, that's what bullets do. Gosh, just blew his head away, dude. Oh my gosh.
He's like, should we clean up those brains? And he's like, the coyotes will eat it unless there's teeth.
Coyotes will get it. Yeah, unless there are any teeth.
I did really like the sister when she says, like, do you need money? It kind of implies that, like, she feels as if the only reason he's come back is for money or for help. And so that's why I feel like, I don't know, I just thought that she noticed that those clothes weren't his. Because they're a little baggy on him.
And it's like, if you haven't talked to somebody for a long time, like Cassie was telling me, Cassie called Ty and she hadn't talked to him for a long time. And then Ty was like, what's the matter? What's going on? But it's just because they hadn't talked to forever. So it's just interesting.
Ty just thinks everyone is just trying to take money from him. Give me. Ty's Mr. Krabs.
No, but if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time and they reach out, usually it is because of like money or something like that, you know? And it's like they just need something.
What are you, a junkie?
That's the only thing family's good for, right?
Yeah.
That's all the family's good for,
What is that
man.
from,
You have
Ty?
piggy bank.
What are you, a junkie? Oh, that's what it's from. What are you, a junkie dealer? And he's like talking about, it's some comedian.
Bill Cosby?
Bill Cosby.
Believe
Yeah.
it or not, I was actually quoting Joe Biden, but that's like me saying to you, you're taking crack or not, huh? What do you think? Are you some kind of junkie? Anyway, it just made me laugh. The way you said it.
So, Ty, going back to one of your favorite guys, the guy in the trunk, I love the part where he's like, let me out of the trunk, and he's like yelling, and he's like, not till I have a gun, and he's like, oh man, I can get you a gun.
Yeah, he's like freaking out, and he just like calmly, oh, I'll get you again.
I'm thirsty. And then, I loved when he's talking to Buzz, and he's like, and he looks at his leg and it's bleeding, and he says, what's that? And he's like, an arrow wound. And then he goes, so you're like in this. I love that.
Okay,
So
that
good.
was kind of another gripe I had. I didn't really understand why Dwight was so dumb and not just have him toss him the phone. Like, what in his brain thought, I have to grab it from his hand? He should have just been like, toss me the phone.
Well, he had a gun. He had a gun.
Well,
False
yes,
sense of
but
security, man.
Yeah,
I thought he
dude.
had a gun. No, and secondly,
I don't give a fuck if I got a gun.
dude, you're
Like,
stressed
touch
out of
it
your
like me.
mind. When you're holding a gun up to someone, you're probably stressed out of your mind, dude. You're not
Well,
even
no, mind
thinking
you,
about, like, anything.
he fired a bullet at him. By the way, when he started talking, right?
That's
when
right,
He started.
he missed.
He
He's
shared.
like,
He goes, yeah. He's like, I got the gun. You get the truth, not to satisfy. Oh well, no. So after he like threatens him, this was before, but he like fires at him, right? He shoots at the trunk, and he's just like, what? Jeez, like. nearly shoots him, and he probably would have tried to shoot him. I think he didn't try to miss on purpose. He literally was just about to shoot him right there. So.
Another quote from that same guy in the trunk, Ty. You're right. He was amazing. When he says, he's like, when he tosses him the phone, he says, "Tell them we're in Kentucky." And he looks at him and goes, "Have you ever been to Kentucky?" I love that. And then my only question I had was, why did he tell him to burn the Polaroid? Was it because he didn't want people to link them together? Is that why?
Yeah, it was to keep him safe. Deniability for one, and two, I think it's part of there's no going back. I think it's literally him saying, like, I'm not leaving this thing. Like, that's how I read it. Like the person that he was in the past is gone. He's already rescinded his life, right? Because at that moment, he's now going to go to the family, right? Because it's after he fights with Teddy and survives, but only thanks to Buzz. And Buzz is like, or he tells Buzz, he's like, Dwight's like, if you find that Polaroid of us, burn it, destroy it.
And how does Ben have 14 acres of land? Like, holy crap. Did he inherit it?
It's the veteran. It's the veterans. The veterans bonus, Jordan. You didn't know about that?
Yeah, dude. Well, no. Yeah. Well, believe it or not, yeah, they will pay your down payment, dude. Just saying.
Oh.
You should serve military, folks. The Marines. This is not an ad for them. Okay. So, any last things you want to add about Blue Ruin, guys?
Oh, so freaking good.
Would you recommend this movie?
Yes.
A resounding yes. Last question I'm going to ask you guys, because we reviewed Green Room before this in mini episode. Would you like Green Room better, or do you like Blue Ruin better?
Oh, I don't know.
Which one do you think is a better film? I personally think Blue Ruin is a better film. I think Blue Ruin
is a better film.
Really?
I enjoyed Green Room better.
I agree with Cameron. Like,
yes, I think it's a
because Blue Ruin, like, a lot of the high intensity moments though were kind of anticlimactic. When he hit the guy with his car, it was like boop, and he just fell on the ground. I was like, oh, okay, like he just hit the guy. Like, I don't know.
Not a lot of theatrics. Didn't fly through the windshield, spinning and turning.
Blood shooting out his neck.
No, that's for the bathroom scene. No, you're right. It's not as it definitely has the more indie budget, but the story and the character I think are more interesting.
Yeah.
And good use of our.
But I mean, like, yeah, just like in general, I would like if I were in a group, I would most likely watch Green Room over Blue Ruin because I feel like Blue Ruin's something that people would get bored of and like, this is dumb.
I'm interested because you guys have only seen them once, so I will say, having watched both of these movies 4 years ago and rewatching them last night and the night before, I enjoyed watching Blue Ruin again on rewatch than Green Room. So
yeah, I
did
too. I agree.
Just you agree with that too, Jordan? Awesome.
But then again, I've seen Green Room more, so.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because when I recommend it to people, I always watch Green Room when I watch it in a crowd, because it's a better crowd movie. It's a better popcorn flick.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, but Blue Ruin is more subtle. You know, you need to have the patience and the wherewithal to watch it. So.
Which a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
We live in a dumb society where people just tone people out.
People just
5-second videos, Ty. 5 seconds.
Transformers. They just want Transformers and explosions.
Or they just, like, I was teasing Jordan. It was a callback. Jordan doesn't pay attention to anyone on the pod. Okay, everybody, write in your emails at Futro.
Do not avert your eyes.
No, I was quoting the fact, Jordan, because you tune everyone out and you hear that ringing sound, you know, like shell-shocked. You just sit there and you're like, you got mustard on your shirt.
Wait, what did you say, Ty?
Hello, Jordan, the podcast is ending. Yeah, you just... Okay.
Sorry.
All right, we're going to end this episode now. Write your emails at futromovies@gmail.com. Leave us a 5-star review.
Do we want to say what we've watched recently or no? Next week?
We don't have time for that this week because we'll save it for next week.
Okay.
But,
well, Cameron and Grant can go. Me and Ty will save ours. Just crank them out.
Crank them out? No, he wants to talk about each of them, don't you?
Don't you?
If you do, we can hold off, Cameron.
It's fine.
I mean, you could just list several movies, and we had no way of knowing if you watched them. It's fun to hear what you think about it. Okay.
You just read an entire list of all these
Kane,
movies.
of the Criterion Collection, and just watching some important films. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie to you. Yes, Chris. All right, we're not gonna lie to you. All right. Let's end this podcast. Everybody, signing out. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.